Alright guys, now that we talked about distance and midpoint, we get to jump into 1.8, perimeter and area. If you have any ideas on how to make this more exciting, please let me know. I could have little dancing figures somewhere on here. I'm not really sure. Anyhow, perimeter. In case you have forgotten, it is the distance around the outside of a figure. Right? So picture a room. If you walk around that whole room, you've just walked the perimeter. Along the outside of a figure, the distance. Alright, so let's talk about the formulas for it. For a square, the perimeter is 4 times each side length, 4 times s. Because a square, all sides are the same, so you can just multiply one of the side lengths by 4, and you have your perimeter. Yay! For a rectangle, it's a little different. Your perimeter is 2 times your base, because you have 2 bases that are the same length, plus 2 times your height, because you have 2 heights that are the same. Or you can look at it this way as 2 parentheses b plus h. Don't forget you'd have to distribute that too, so you'd be left with the same thing. You can always add up all of your sides, that's totally fine. But it's just a little bit more work. If you multiply, it makes things move a little faster. For a triangle, unfortunately, there's no choice. You do have to add up all of your sides. So you have to add A plus B plus C. All right, so adding the sides. Unless, of course, it's an equilateral triangle. And if you know that kind of triangle, then you know what to do. Okay, so now we're going to talk about a circle, the perimeter for a circle, which is called the circumference. So you have a circle, the distance around it is called the circumference. We don't call it the perimeter. And in order to get that, you take pi times your diameter. Diameter goes all the way across your circle. All right, so as long as you know that, you multiply it by pi, you can get your circumference. But Mrs. Black, what if I only know my radius? Well, that's fine too. Your radius goes halfway across your circle. So you take 2 times pi times r, because that doubles your radius, which is basically your diameter. So that is your circumference. And moving along, we have area, dun, 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 if I can find it, the number of square units inside a figure. Number of square units inside a figure. Area. Okay, so let's look at formulas. Well, for a square, again, it's pretty straightforward since all of the sides are equal. We're going to take whatever the side measure is and square it. All right, so if this is 4, you would do 4 squared, 4 times 4, and you would get 16. All right, a rectangle, we're just going to take the base right down here times the height, and then we've got our area. Yay! And then we have a triangle where things get just one more step complicated. We have to take our base, whatever that is at the bottom, and multiply it by our height. And remember, our height in a triangle can never be slanted. It's never one of these slanty sides. It has to go from the top and drop to the bottom. So we're going to take our base times our height, excuse me, and then you have to divide it by 2. And that is the area of a triangle. We move along to circle here. And now we're going to take our radius. Remember, our radius is half the diameter. So our radius, we're going to square it and then multiply it by pi. So let's look at an example. It says, find the area of the figure. Well, here is our figure. Goodness gracious. So, before I wrote all of this in, it just looked like a set of stairs. Then what I did with this green pen is I went ahead and marked off this spot. All right, and I marked off this spot. And I essentially have 3 separate shapes. So, to find the area of the number 1 shape, if you can see I wrote in number 1, I'm going to do 3 times 3, the base times height. So right here, 3 times 3, and that gives me 9. Then I'm going to look at this shape right here, and I'm going to find the area. Well, right here the base is 6, so I'm going to do 6 times 3 for figure number 2, and I will get 18. Well, for figure number 3, I'm going to look here and see that my base is 9, and then again my height is 3 centimeters. So 9 times 3, which gives me 27. Now I just add them all up. 9 plus 18 plus 27, and I get 54 centimeters squared. And boom, those are 1.8's notes. Probably the shortest video yet. Wow, I can't talk. Anyway, have a good night, guys. I will see you at our next class.